anything, because Ensong Inferno, yes, it detonates properly when it hits the ground, but if that Phoenix form is able to fly through anything, any sort of shielding or anything with a health bar that's a summon, like a Rocket's BRB or potentially a Cosmic Ion Amplifier, that all goes up in smoke too. So you really do have to melt that Phoenix incredibly quickly as we get ready to head into our first domination round between these two teams.
All right, I'm excited and ready to go. What will our first map be? I don't hear the familiar Krakoa music, so it's going to be Celestial Husk on Clintar, where we shall start our brawl.
Well, this is great for Tuzi and Crazy Kitty because this is one of the best flyer maps. Even if the other team locks something like a Star-Lord to try and counteract them with things like the Galactic Legend, there's so many terrain for you to just be able to hide behind with the natural cover to live through that ultimate, which isn't even going to force your strategist to overcommit.
One-sided Jeff, yeah, that's going to be it for Insomnia. Already making sure that that's going to be something that needs to be worried about. Maybe Chopped can make a play now, though, for one-sided Adam, because he Mash hovering it at the moment. And we did bring up our scorecard at the beginning of the show, where unmirrored Adam wins on domination are incredibly high.
That, or they could go for a one-sided Luna. But they're going to ban out the Venom because they've seen that the Jeff has been able to get through, and they want to remove not just the symbiotic shenanigans where the Jeff and the Venom have so much sustainability, but also any form of damage boost. If something like a Luna is able to get through for Insomnia, they're not going to be able to amp up Feast of the Abyss the way that Chopped can, because they've been able to secure one-sided Mantis since Insomnia prioritized the Jeff.
Yep. Getting that Mantis in really does open up some of those angles for a duelist to be able to try and take them, or maybe for a deep diver to be able to make these independent plays with the healing that's conferred by the spores, as well as, of course, the damage boost as well. And we've seen that has been able to occasionally combine with Loki, at least in Navi's estimation, but that's not quite so popular.
I was going to say Ultron needs to be on the chopping block for Insomnia immediately right now, as you cannot give Chopped and Tuzi on the Human Torch both the Mantis and the Ultron to have the support pocket come on through with damage boost and all of that shielding and drone. And instead, it's not going to be a pocketed Human Torch, it's going to be that Phoenix coming on out. Now, if you're Insomnia, do you try and remove the Invisible Woman so that you don't get Guardian Shield for those off-angle flank plays, or do you try and remove maybe one of the Vanguard lines coming through from Chopped? I think Luna might actually be a good shot here, but no, they prioritize that Invis woman who would really enable the Phoenix.
Yeah, enable the Phoenix, potentially enable a Torch as well. Final Protect coming through for Insomnia here. Maybe something like the EMEA to try and make sure that any divers could be shut down, given that Venom's already been banned away, to get rid of those symbiotic shenanigans. You do have a Vanguard slot up for grabs, and they're going to protect their own Luna.
Yeah, now at least you have an answer to damage boost coming on through from Chopped. Granted, Chopped are going to be able to get it whenever they have Mantis seats, and Insomnia are going to be relying on it coming on through with the Lunar ultimate. But for Chopped, they really wanted to make sure that they didn't just get one-sided Snowflake going their way, as I'm pretty sure, yeah, we're going to be seeing a Phoenix Human Torch double duelist angle coming on through from Chopped's composition, I'm sure.
Villain, I'm not judging.
Definitely seems like it's on the cards, as all of the bans have been completed. And Insomnia are making sure that there's no chance for the unmirrored, or for the mirrored Human Torch, rather. Vertigo, don't know how much I trust this. Vertigo usually plays a strategist, as far as I can remember.
Well, I mean, sometimes you see strategists, rather duelists playing the strategist, the way that we've seen Crazy Kitty move over to the Jeff. But yeah, strategists playing the Vanguard, we don't often get to see. Even in the triple Vanguard lines, it's always a duelist who would roll swap over to one of those extra Vanguards and play something like either the Angela, the Doctor Strange, the Thing, as well as is a big favorite of the duelists to move over.
Yeah, Thing is definitely a easy to pick up, relatively easy to master Vanguard. He ain't that deep, bro. he do be punching a lot, and occasionally that's enough. Celestial Husk is going to be where we begin. And honestly, Chopped, they're such a powerhouse when it comes to their duelists, so I'm excited to see what twos you can get done to begin with.
Ooh, Winter Soldier. from the silhouette, it looks like, coming on through from Chop. So yeah, Tuzi's going to be on that flyer, but again, can go between flying with the verticality, but also playing those off angles. And Insomnia, they've actually got Passivo in a favorite we've seen from this Vanguard player. The Captain America with Twitzy Psylocke, which means Crazy Kitty's going to be on the Winter Soldier to scout it and immediately push them away from diving his backline.
Butch already noted that means Chopped have to go over to a high ground. However, they're going to be surrounded on both sides here. Nox is going to take their time to try and get involved, but Crazy Kitty surrounded, torn apart by the circling piranhas. DRP noted on the point, starts to accrue that capture percentage, but then Twitch is easily able to tag on in. DRP can't even get a wall climb off due to the aqua bursts of the Jeff, consistently locking them down, and well, DRP ends up off the map. Quick reset.
Maybe a swap potentially is DRP without the Jeff symbiotic shenanigans. Every single time he tries to make a play for distracting this backline, gets melted by the Atom and doesn't have enough time to allow the rest of his team to walk forward and put the pressure as they're having to deal with the Captain America and the Psylocke. Insomnia now with better control of the spacing to have the opportunity of clearing Chop's rotation.
Just so much damage being pumped out of Twitzy already here. Almost has access to the dance of the butterfly. Speedo has to move on forward, but constantly harried and harassed. They're just having to pay the troll toll as they move on forward. Every single time Passo and Twitzy demand that attention.
I mean, DRP is just a pincushion right now. And the Captain America and the Psylocke are just bouncing between not going for the backline, which would be far riskier, but using the Venom. Ooh, that's a big elimination from Crazy Kitty. And off of the back of that, though, yeah, Chop went for a double stack of strategist ultimates. They have to win this fight. They've at least got the damage boost pumped to be able to try and put pressure onto the Karmic Revival, but Insomnia get the last laugh with the later fate of both worlds.
Oh, DRP managing to combine that, get rid of a fate of both worlds in short order. Nocta awaits the arrival of a pair of strategists, but the remainder of Chopped are not going to allow you to get away with this daylight robbery without consequences. Law and Order wins the day as Insomnia are rebuffed away from the point.
That was so many ultimates coming through from Chop's side, though. Beetle's going to have Psionic Seduction, but so too is Forever. Passive with the Freedom Charge as well is going to give Insomnia the better sustainability prowess. So now for Chopped, it's all about utilizing this Venom, scouting their rotation, stalling out Insomnia, and giving Chop the opportunity to start trying to find a pick with the Phoenix and the Winter Soldier.
Passivo already getting a little bit of additional pressure on the objective here. Brings Tuzi down. Someone else is going to have to tag in now. They just can't get rid of Passivo. The Freedom Charge is going to make things a little bit more difficult, and Forever joins the fray. There's going to be so many mind controls. The dance of the butterflies is a dance macabre for certain. Mash and Vertigo are gone. Crazy Kitty put down for now as Forever rolls on board with Diamond Fists of Flinging Fury. Kung Fu fighting indeed they are. Nocta gets nuked from orbit by Tuzi, but I think the damage has already been done. Insomnia bring back the point in record time.
Oh, Vertigo too. Here's the strange portal. He's gonna get staggered. Nope, they just have to commit. They've got players out of the portal onto the point itself. A good grab comes on through, but they're not able to convert the eliminations off of the back of it. Password running directly into the backline, fully zoning on off both the Luna and the Cloak and Dagger to patty cake each other, which vulnerabilities out that Vanguard lineup, and Twitzy gets to absolutely farm for a result while keeping Line Pro entirely safe for space for that res.
Feast of the Abyss could be damage boosted here by the fate of both worlds. DRP has it ready, already has used their symbolic resilience, and now having to roll on forward. Mash knows that it's now or never. Relaxing Sky could have all of their health taken away in short order. It seems like the Feast of the Abyss hasn't been able to grab that much from above. In comes the Eye of Agamotto. Noctis already got themselves one victim, spits out a second, mashes off the map, but the damage has been done. Vertigo's down. Lime Pro is taken away as well and doesn't have the cocooned revival, so Beetle can easily clear through the remainder of Insomnia.
I think Nocta tried to min-max that by using the Edge Jeff to stop Lime Pro from getting hit by the Eye of Agamotto.
Maybe.
And then carry him out so that he could come on through with the Karmic Revival. It doesn't quite work out, but it was definitely a smart play. As Insomnia do still have res advantage as well as Dance of the Butterflies, which is going to be more than enough pressure to force Crazy Kitty into burning this ultimate. As we can see once again, Password wrapping all the way around the point, which this time Chopped are in position to anticipate the Captain America showing on up. Beetle scouts it out entirely.
playing in the under caverns. Subterranean defense being mounted here by Chopped, but still Pasuo is going to test it as best they can. Sentinel strikes, good to go, building up towards a freedom charge for even more sustainability for the side of Insomnia. And that's even before they start using Line Pro's ultimate. Twitzy opens on up, Eternal Bond should keep everybody sustained. Mash is catching so many of those slashes, but the healing's still good from the Eternal Bond. Pasuo towards the back, and yes, there's that over health given over by the freedom charge. Democracy reigns over this. Forever falls on down, so it's time to come on back. No one gave you permission to fall. The casualties are taken aback, and Chopped are moving away from a point temporarily. Tuesday up close and personal. Oh, when you get shocked by the Phoenix, you get shocked real hard. Taken up, just offered as if it's an offering to a Protean god of a Phoenix. Drawn up still. Beetle going to be taken off the point for sure. Oh, never mind. Enthusiast said, you let my Emma Frost go. Let my Vanguard be. Atuzi noted. Then Atuzi continues to just rain terror upon everyone who moves on to a point. Coming up close and personal yet again. Vanguards versus Vanguards. Forever's up close. Oh, Twitzy can't even survive with the help of up close. Fate of both worlds. Vertigo moving forward as well for Soul Resurgence. Vertigo's doing so much damage as well. Full control of the character while channeling that healing. And DRP and Beetle, they just wash over the Vanguards like an inextricable tide. The moon has made its own will known, and Pasuo can't touch the point. A turnaround from Chopped.
Oh, Tuesday. What an absolute monster on this Phoenix. Especially now that he gets to play off of the Venom too. Doesn't even use the Ansong Inferno to put pressure onto the Karmic Revival's position. Holds off on it so he could potentially pair it with DRP's Feast of the Abyss. Then has to use it in reaction to the It's Jeff to stop Nocta from being able to make off with Beetle from that point as the fight continued. And they knew that they wanted the Emma still up because Insomnia would be swapping to the Strange to pull it back in. And then you need the Emma to put more pressure on that Vanguard.
And they are so aware of all of the potential flowcharts of Marvel Rivals that were going to be happening in the midst of that fight. Crazy Kitty going to make a pivot now. Obviously, this is a little bit of a better map for the Human Torch. A little bit more airspace to work with, as well as fewer subterranean caverns in which to hide yourself from the burning power of the sun.
Yeah, I mean, if you win this first fight too, Insomnia are going to have access to so little angles, but no, Tuesday is going to be right back over onto the Phoenixes. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Twitzy is going to have Dance of the Butterflies to open up, but Chopped are going to have that Lunar ultimate ready to go to be able to sustain all the way through it.
Okay, the pivot actually over to a Mantis. I was being bamboozled with Chopped. Spawn DRP towards the back, already having used so much of their utility, and wants to go back in yet again. Even without the cellular corrosion, demands all of the attention. 4 players stack on up and now rolling forward. Fate of both worlds means that DRP can disengage and get straight back into the action. Tuesday ready to run down Line Pro. Yeah, there's a soul bond, but when you share out the pain, it just makes it twice as much in this case. Surely Line Pro's going to fall on down to the Venom eventually. A pair of live streams for themselves is more than enough feelings to try and sustain, but it does mean that no one else is receiving it.
Yeah, Mash waits until the last possible moment to use the Lunar ultimate. Remember, it lasts 2 seconds less now. So they use it, they move forward, they force the Soulbind, and then Vertigo looks for a blind. Granted, it doesn't hit, but utilizing the vulnerability window is going to really put pressure on that Soulbind's effectiveness when Chopped are just going to be able to move on forward with the damage boost stacking as well for this Mantis. In the neutral, Crazy Kitty, you can see, continues to keep the damage stacks on both of the Vanguards, so Beetle is almost going to have another Sonic Seduction.
Lucy's starting to feel the pressure. Oh, the accumulation is starting to get real high here. Pasuo up close and personal animation cancels, looking good. Nice dodge coming through away from a Jeff ultimates, and Nocta is punished for the audacity of trying to move in towards that back line. Line Pro should get some quick resurrections here off the back of the Karmic Revival, but very few people have fallen already, and it seems like maybe Nocta was too far away. Has to be a little commute there for Line Pro. The primary target of Tuesday, trying to just carve through the healing that was given on over by the Fate of both worlds, and now Pasuo demands attention. Once again, the Eternal Bond is used to try and deal with the slashes given by the dance of the butterflies. Vertigo towards the back, marauding even. Just a terror cape, a personal gift for Twitzy, who readily receives it. And Chopped are looking strong here.
What's wild is that Chop didn't give up the point flip. Insomnia even placed themselves with a Sonic Seduction behind their own res, so that Chop weren't going to be able to try and make a play for that point, but the giant pillar right through the middle of it meant that Chop was still able to keep feet on objective and refuse to give up the percentage. And now we're headed into final fight. Insomnia have to make big changes. Passo onto the Hulk, Twitzy onto that Namor, so that they have the melt potential to keep this Phoenix in check.
And melt they may. However, remember, all of those squids can be victims of a shockwave that comes through from the end song Inferno, which Tuzi's got ready to go. DRP already demanding the attention here of Twitzy, but coming up close and personal, an easy headshot means those squids get berserked real fast. No unbreakable guard given on over. Passo instead forced to go elsewhere. DRP starts to chomp through the back line of Insomnia and dives in once again. The harassment is real, but so too are the stuns. An attempt to itch Jeff to try and eat up some of these players. The iframe no good, but you better believe that the counter punch is better. A damage boost to guarantee a one shot. The end song Inferno burns through what was once fresh meat. Twitzy is not long for this world, and Tuzi getting up close and personal. I'm only stronger when you get into melee with me. Beetle has the Sonic Seduction in the back pocket. If only it's going to be needed. Crazy Kitty seems to have avoided most of this incoming damage. Relaxing Sky overwhelmed. Double stun coming through with a freeze and a sedation for anyone who wants it. And while Hulk may be angry, he gets chopped through so quickly by the Venom. All that HP is just converted into overhealth for their foes and their nemesis, as Chopped are looking dominant to take this one. And Insomnia falter on the Celestial Husk.
Okay, we might need to see a Tuzi Phoenix ban. We might need to see a Tuzi Phoenix ban. Granted, the problem was definitely worsened by the fact that Mantis made it through the ban phase, coming in through from Chopped. But every single time that we see Line Pro trying to set up a res position, including in that last fight, he gets spotted out when he's in his soft cocoon form, shadowed by DRP on the Venom, and then Tuzi shows up to play and absolutely melts him before he can come on through with those revives. The fact that he only went down a singular time, and he wasn't even really using End Song Inferno for a health reset. He was literally using it to play rock, paper, scissors, fire against Jeff's ultimate every single time. Nocta got absolutely no value out of the Jeff hits off of that.
I mean, it's so difficult when you're going up against like the double damage boost of the Insong Inferno, right? One from the Luna, often from the Fate of Both Worlds, and then one from the Mantis basically all the time. This was disgusting, by the way.
Melee cancels.
Guang, look at this. Guang. Remove this from my game.
What's wild as well is that, like, he even gets to punish them being revived, because the more stacked that they play, the more players he's going to be able to stun, and then the more damage the sparks, when they detonate, are going to be able to do off of the AoE. So every single time we saw Tuzi use his ultimate, you gave it like 30 seconds and bro was 50% to the next one.
Also gets self-healing every time a spark detonates. That's cool.
Yeah, and iframe with the dash.
Phoenix has got a kit, you know, like a lot of kit to try and play with. How's Hella going to compete? Maybe with a nice skin, but we advertised that earlier, so you'll have to pop into game to see the new Grim Lady costume that's ready for Hella. However, Insomnia, they're going to have to start thinking about how they want to ready themselves for map number 2. They get to choose where we go, and they may have to choose Tuzi's hero pool for them a little bit as we adjust our draft heading into map number 2 right after this break. Gamers, is it chopped? We're heading into map number 2, and Insomnia are 1-0 down in our best of 3. They must choose where they want to make their stand to take us to a third and decisive map.
Yeah, and you know, we were talking just before the break about how Phoenix is so good. What exactly counters her? Well, I'll give you one 100% success rate Phoenix counter that she can't quite rise from the ashes from: a ban. And I feel like no matter where we go, we're likely going to be seeing either the Phoenix herself straight banned out, or the resources that the Phoenix had access to being removed one by one. But I feel like with Tuzi and just the animation cancels of the melee too, getting the Phoenix just entirely out of the mix is probably your best bet.
Yeah, Phoenix is just a force of cosmic nature that kind of needs to be constrained, honestly. Like, the thing about Susie is that, like, you can get rid of a Phoenix. Maybe you open up a path of a Star-Lord who's looking real good right now. We still got the Winter Soldier who needs to be contended with. But maybe you can try and weather that storm by going for maybe a convoy map and going for a spawn hub with a 3-3 that has a little bit more sustainability against the kind of damage that Tuzi's known to do.
Yeah, and Insomnia have shown that they know not just how to pull off a full hold, but also how to break a full hold.
Oh,
yeah, that is indeed the whole of the chat. Oh boy. So if either Phoenix or Torch makes it through this ban draft, I'm gonna be a little bit concerned. But then again, we did see Insomnia start to try, as Celestial Husk was just ending, go for things like the Hulk and the Namor. So they might try and use the Hulk and the Namor to try and shut down some of those vertical wraparound angles that Chop's flying players could potentially take in. Okay, there we go. Mantis insta-ban from both sides.
All right, how do Chopped want to set the tone here with their first protect? I mean, it would be funny if you did Phoenix.
If I was about to say, it would be so funny if they immediately saved the Phoenix.
Be a bit of a giggle, wouldn't it?
And then Insomnia would one by one have to remove like the Luna, the Invis, the Magneto. Sooner rather than later you run out of bans too, but no, they're gonna be saving themselves up the Jeff, which means that Insomnia need to make sure that they have either an Ultron, a Magneto, or a Phoenix of their own, or potentially that Winter Soldier to be able to deal with it.
Yep, possibly even ban away DRP's Venom as well. Ultron going to be the next to go, making sure that if a torch goes in the air, it's going to be -1 of its enablers. First protect now coming through from the side of Insomnia. Could manage to get themselves for Luna or potentially something like the Emma.
Maybe the Invis. Nope, they're gonna go Ultron themselves. So maybe we see Insomnia actually go an aggressive route rather than a defensive in terms of being able to react to that dive. They want to formulate a better duelist line themselves. Plus, as we talked about, Ultron into Jeff, with Rage of Ultron, you should not have to worry. It will be like Celestial Husk with the Ensong Inferno interaction, but this time around, it's on your side.
It's always good to have it on your side. Simultaneous ban coming through here now. Likely going to once again be targeted at... Oh, okay. Venom gone. That makes sense. Just trying to nerf Jeff a little bit by getting rid of those symbiotic shenanigan tendrils. And on the other side, seeing that there's going to be an Ultron, you want to make sure that Human Torch is not an option.
Not just that, Twitzy was known. One of my worries for Insomnia's team coming into stage 2 was that Twitzy has always, for like duelist lines, been prone to going Human Torch or Psylocke. And those two, while we see Human Torch still having a great deal of value, especially in giga-pocketed compositions, Psylocke isn't quite where she used to be. So now that you can remove the Human Torch, that was my concern, that Insomnia might be a little bit behind in terms of playing into that meta.
Okay, Adam taken away. Maybe a mirrored protect here on to the Phoenix, not have it one-sided away from them. So there's still a ban in the pocket here for Insomnia to try and work with.
They might just go for the Invis though, or the Luna. I was about to say, Luna's been able to make it through too, because Adam hasn't been banned out yet on the side of Insomnia, and now they have to think, what do they use this last ban for? Is it going to be an Adam ban so that no team gets access to the Karmic Revival and the Light and Shadow Karma with that Luna team up, or is it going to be something like the Emma removal? You also still have to worry about...
Stinky.
Okay, back to the notebook I go. Rosa isn't the only one in EMEA who misses a ban. Now, the Star-Lord is left open, the Emma is left open, the Adam is left open. Chopped really have a whole host of options to choose from now.
So many options.
The Phoenix got left open too.
Yep, Phoenix is open. Like, they've got Invis available.
Torch is open.
That's what we might call a bit of an oopsie doodle. Big oops, actually. That's okay. You know what? If they can win it down a band, that's kind of aura.
That is kind of horrifying.
Rosa did it before.
True, Rosa did do it before. Shout out to FaZe, the only team in EMEA who's currently won a map with giving up one of the bans. Given how important we've talked about draft being, you can really fry your own win chances by burning your bans. Chopped now on the attack. I mean, they get the Phoenix and they get the Torch and the Invis. Oh boy, I feel for Insomnia. They need to be able to keep a track of these flying components. Nocta is going to be so vulnerable, having to take direct deals against this Torch.
Everything's coming up Millhouse right now. Twitsy's gonna have a lot on their plate already with Venom scouting out the approach here. Crazy Kitty having to pop for C, which is maybe not the ideal time, given that you might have to take a mid-air fight against someone like either Twitsy or Nocta, but big control of a high ground already on the table here for Chopped, and this allowed for Tuzi to be escorted into a premier position overlooking the point.
Yeah, and they've been able to put pressure onto Twitsy too, who's taking a lot of damage from Chop's approach now. Pyro Prison onto the point too is going to put pressure onto Insomnia's Vanguards, allowing Beetle to close up the distance and now threaten with the grab and spinning kick into the enemy team. Insomnia really have to just send past the woman for a soft dive to stop the attack, aside from just walking onto point and calling it home.
Twitsy noted, however, after the hot drop manages to get away with their lifeline probe in a pretty good position here. DRP's taking a lot of damage. And you know what? This might actually give a bit of an opening. Tuzi taken down in the back by Twitsy, taking out the Maestro themselves. It's a huge pickup. And now it's time to strike towards the back. The end song Inferno gets it done. Line Pro goes for an alpha play in the Invisible Woman versus Invisible Woman. Nice defense from Insomnia.
Yeah, Insomnia actually let Chopped walk in so that they lose all of those angle controls. Password doing a very good job as well of not overstaying, just being the distraction for Chopped to have to pivot and look at, allowing Twitsy and Nocta to get so much more aggression done. However, Chopped have ultimates coming into this next fight, and that's going to be the true test because Insomnia don't have a Magneto. If Supernova comes on through, paired up with Sonic Seduction as an opener for Beetle, Chopped are getting point presence for sure.
Supernova given over. Look at all of that pocket going through on a Crazy Kitty right now. Public enemy #1 gets a lot of priority. Disengages after forcing out the invisible boundary alongside the rest of Chopped. We're just going to allow for this one to expire. This is very aggressive coming through from the side of Paso, but as you said, soft dives, instantly disengaging afterwards. And it's going to be an exchange now of the Sonic Seductions, but Nocta on the off angle is just able to grant survivability to everyone who gets grabbed on up. And that forces Mash to come in once again with the fate of both worlds. DRP's already down. Tuzi's starting to spin to win. The Beyblade tech deployed. Twitsy noted in the back, but no final blows can be found. The casualties aren't mounting, and Chopped once again rebuffed.
Yeah, big pickup coming on through from Insomnia's and being able to desynchronize DRP with Tuzi. We've got Ensong Inferno, we've got Meteor Amp, we've now got pressure onto Relicing Sky's fate of both worlds, but Insomnia holding on to it. They know when they use the Lunar Ultimate, it's going to paint a target on their backs for Chopped to try and stop it. As we can see that these soft dives from Passel have been stalling the attackers from moving forward and allowing Twitsy and Nocta so much room. We're down to a minute and Chopped have to disengage because they're down their ammo.
Yeah, I mean, Nocta's still on the Stealth 100 build as well. Just keeps playing this off angle, just putting in so much damage without really any consequence.
Crazy Kitty went to the Atom in case Insomnia tried to pressure Chopped outside of their spawn so that they could have Soulbind and make sure that they didn't lose another person to the stagger. But Insomnia have so many ultimates to be able to play with. Last time we saw Chopped have to commit the Supernova to force the invisible boundary on the point so that they could disengage it cleanly. They're not going to have that option now.
Okay, Nocturne and Twitzy once again on the invisible angle. Big accumulation of sparks, and the invisible boundary is so far away from the point, Mox. We're just going to have to stay in here and stew, waiting for the point to open up there after DRP starts to move on forward. Maybe you can try and shut down this invisible boundary, utilizing your own Meteor M, but in the back, that's a lot coming through from the side of the Venom. No, DRP ults nothing. A space ult if ever I've seen one, and no one's on the point. Oh, Chopped is... They're just chopped. There's no other way to put it.
Insomnia might be the second team in EMEA to be able to win.
Aura farming.
No bans required. Whoa, I mean, they did just allow Chop to walk in, then Pasoa would dive the backline, soft dive, break it out, make sure that he was never playing frontline pressure too, so he could never get a grab opportunity off of Beetle. And then he would just be in and out. If you looked at the Venom and tried to patty cake your backline, Twitzy and Nocta, the Phoenix and the Ultron would just be working the front line and getting so much damage pressured.
One way or another, we're guaranteed a map number 3. The worst that Insomnia can do here is a draw. Look at the absolute stack of healing coming out.
Wait, they're going for it. Line pros on the penny.
Uh-oh. I mean, like, maybe you try and do a little bit of tilt damage here to Chopped, like missing out on a ban. Maybe you hit them with a decision.
Well, if you get the Atom, is the thing. If you get the Atom and you force self-res before the round begins, that's going to be huge.
Oh, they're just using it to farm up healing ult charge. B2 actually caught a bunch of them. You can see that their health bar's been declined.
Okay, so they're not going to heal him until the round starts, because if they heal him now, it doesn't actually go into ult charge. They have to wait and then heal Beetle afterwards. But the question is, who gets to heal him? Who do they put more priority on building the ultimate first? It looks like it's going to be the Invis, because Vertigo coming on through with that invisible boundary to grab these players from Insomnia, who are still going to have dive components, is going to be crucial to slowing this attacking team from getting the one tick necessary.
I feel like Nocta really has been the secret sauce so far for Insomnia. We'll see if it remains to be the case. Passivo wraps around the back, dive onto a back line. 3 strategists together, hits the cellular corrosion event, instantly exits, doing their best soft dive once again, but Twitzy taken down as a stellar cluster goes through the doorway.
Yeah, big pick from Crazy Kitty onto the Phoenix, who now doesn't get to play that high ground angle or push Tuzi off of it. So Tuzi's already been able to build up almost halfway to that first Endsong Inferno, off of being able to put pressure onto Insomnia's rotation round that left side. Another soft dive comes on through. Chopped still not giving up these angle positions though.
Passivo now on top of the Phoenix, but we know that that's actually where she's the most dangerous, so it's time to run. And Beetle doesn't really want to use the Diamond Form to get up onto high ground just yet, knowing they can easily be parried by Forever by popping their own Diamond Form. DRP is down, and Crazy Kitty's still 43% away from getting the Resurrection, so it might have to be a swap over onto the Doctor Strange to return rather quickly. Tuzi on the off angle needs to find something onto this back line, attempting to shut down the Rage of Ultron, already accruing towards all of this damage. One down. Endsong Inferno good to go, but can't pop it. Needed to stay contesting. Chopper just pushed from the point, and Insomnia claim it in record time. No bans needed.
The discipline coming on through from Insomnia as well. That last push, it's so well organized. They go for the pick the second they find the pick onto that Magneto. When they start pushing it, they're 30% off of Rage of Ultron 2. So they know that with the Magneto falling, there's now going to be pressure on Chop's side, that someone who doesn't have a good ability kit to hold on to that point and stall for a Doctor Strange portal to come back through now has to absorb the position that DRP held. Now Insomnia invest their ultimates, because they're either going to be able to find the elimination onto someone who's not equipped to take that fight, or the pressure of those ultimates is going to force Chopped to have to reposition off of the point itself, and even without finding the eliminations, they'll be able to find the tick necessary.
Poor DRP, he was having a time. It felt like every player in the lobby was firing at DRP. It was just like, I don't know if the bullets, if he became a casualty, was it via blood loss or via suffocation? Who knows? It's the raw mass of bullets that went his way was kind of unbelievable. We'll have to see if there's going to be a bounce back here from Chopped as we go to our third map after this break. And map number 3 finally mocks here at EMEA Ignite Stage 2. And between Chopped and Insomnia, it was somewhat expected, but I didn't expect it to happen this way.
Yeah, and with Convergence now being taken off of the table, which means no central park opportunity for Toozy or Crazy Kitty in the Flyers in terms of the Phoenix and the Human Torch, we now have to go to Convoy. So there is a decision to be made here. We've only seen Spider Islands get picked twice, and both times it's led to a full hold. But with Chopped in the driver's seat, if they do want to continue going down the line of utilizing a Flyer composition, Spider Islands, with all of the verticality and amount of buildings that your flying components can hide behind, might be a good opportunity to take us to a potential win for them.
Yeah, like being able to utilize those flyers has been a big part of quite a few team strategies over the course of Ignite Stage 2. We've seen Storm enter the meta. I don't think either of these teams has really been as Storm-built. I know that Noct used to play quite a bit of Storm back in the day when she was when she had her like rise in competitive viability around Season 2, I believe that was. But in the newer times, not so much. We've seen a lot of Nocta playing the Jeff. Maybe we see some pivots back towards Jeff on Convoy maps where we have a lot of environmental hazards, in particular Spider Islands comes to mind. And we did see a pivot towards the one-sided Jeff. When it came to the bans coming through from Short, I don't think they really utilized or got any real value out of.
Yeah, it was definitely a tricky one. But I mean, Insomnia, I think this is the danger when Insomnia get taken to a Convoy map. They are very good at breaking full holds. They're also very, very good at positioning into compositions that are designed to break full holds. Out of all of the teams that we've seen, they're one of the best at being able to play themselves in separate pockets. So if things like the Groot and Moon Knight wombo combo was attempted from the attacking side, it picks up a minimum amount of players rather than a maximum. And also means that the Moon Knight's ultimate charge doesn't generate as faster as if you're firing and getting those onks to bounce into 6 bodies stacked on top of each other in comparison to 2 or potentially 3.
Yeah, well, like we've seen some crazy generation of Hand of Khonshu. Like I believe we saw Knuten get it in 12 seconds. 12,
maybe. Yep, and 12 on Spider Islands.
Yeah, then he fell off and took 24 seconds to get the next one. So honestly, no surprises. Knuten fell off. This is a call-out post. Don't at me. 1-to-1 between Insomnia and Chopped as we discover, oh, I hear the banger. We're going to a Rocco.
You can just immediately identify. I mean, yeah, everybody knows, I think, by the first like 30 seconds of sound that we are going to be headed over towards Araco. What is the ban line now going to be? Is it going to be things like the Doctor Strange, which is going to weaken the teleport, retake onto the second fight of the defenders, or is it going to be onto things that have a better opportunity of breaking that spawn hold, as Insomnia instant banning out that Adam? They saw that Chopped left it open on Hall of Djalia, and they do not want to have to walk into either a Soulbind fight or the Karmic Revival potential.
Okay, Chopped are going to be prioritizing their Ultron here, which may force Insomnia to protect Ultron in return, given that Noct was getting a lot of value out of that previously.
You're gonna have to ban flyers if you're Insomnia, because Chopped, one thing that they're going to be able to do, even though they're going to be starting out on the attack, Araco actually has so many wraparound flanks that you can do, especially if you're a flyer, where sometimes, you know, we got to see in the last series, Jerky go to the magic, take that long wraparound right side rotation for attacker spawn. However, with flyers, you can go left side and pop up directly behind them, put pressure on the backline as your frontline core walks. And if you have an Ultron pocketed with a Human Torch, that particular flank can be incredibly hard for a backline to stand up to.
All right, there's the Mirror Protect on the Ultron. Now, Chopped are going to be able to get 2 in a row, but the second one is going to be mirrored in terms of timing, so not so much predictive capacity. And as you said, flyers, when you see the Ultron Protect, they can be must bans, and Chopped certainly received the mission statement for that one, Mox.
So, do Insomnia now? I mean, they have a ban first. But do they let a flyer go through and pick up something like a Star-Lord? The worry for them... Yeah, it is a very big risk, because if a flyer does manage to make it and Chopped get access to Human Torch or Phoenix, that's going to be the thing that wins them the fight. But as we've seen from Insomnia when we went to Hall of Djalia, it feels like they kind of baited Chopped into going for those flying components and were able to shut them down, because when they know they're going to be playing against Chopped, Toozy and Crazy Kitty, that's the kind of line that you practice into.
Okay, even with the Venom ban, still a prioritization here of the EMEA to try and catch out a potential cart juggler in a initial spawn hold, someone like a Captain America or potentially even an Angela, given what we've seen so far. Angela actually, I believe, has most of their time used on Araco.
Yes.
It's a very popular pick here, especially right at the start, because there's the proximity of that environmental hazard from the attacker's perspective on the left-hand side of the door.
I think it might actually be rivaled by foot usage of Angela on Celestial Husk, considering we saw that for 2 full rounds as opposed to when we see Angela, it's only really been for one third of Araco coming on out. But I'm a big fan of the Venom ban coming in through from Insomnia. DRP was making headway when it came to those soft eyes coming on through and forcing the backline to have to turn and deal with the Venom before they could bail out their front line when they wanted to walk on forward.
Okay. No Human Torch to be seen. He's no longer a priority ban, but he is still a pain that needs to be dealt with. It's going to be Insomnia starting off on the defense here. Chopped are going to have to break through a... Oh.
Yep. Iron Man time.
Bit of 3-3, and you know what? I dig the Iron Man. I dig the Iron Man.
Iron Man is actually very strong here because if it's into something like a Groot or a Thing, you're going to be able to have a lot of spam pressure up in this guy. Granted, Thing did in the past now get a buff where he can actually jump not just to his teammates but to enemies in this guy and ground them. Part of that was because Thing struggled formidably into flyers who would just absolutely melt him, and as a melee character, he didn't really have any answer to it.
Like, what can you do? Get taller, reach better.
5'9" versus 6 foot. Looking up.
5'11" versus 6 foot. Vertigo gonna give a quick speed boost out of a spawn here. May actually stick to the Jeff, of course. We're in a different era, but I still have the conditioning from before. Insomnia up close and personal with 3 Vanguards, 3 strategists, and a whole lot of meat that Chopped are gonna have to carve through.
Yeah, but Beetle on that Wolverine is going to be able to do a lot of damage if he gets close enough, and already he's been able to close up the distance. No picks yet, though, so Noctis BRB is still waiting, and that is a big carbon crush onto Tuzi, but with the help of both the Guardian Shield and the Firewall Imperative, he will be able to survive and disengage, and in the meantime, Twitsy's been taken down.
Common 5'11" forever taken down as well. Tuzi really making sure to follow up on these feral leaps that Beetle's delivering. This is not really a part of a Beetle hero pool that we've seen previously, but obviously you don't need to stack up too much on the survivability of Vanguards when you're so close to your spawn. You don't really mind trading out. Steal Insomnia and keep it... Uh-oh, don't get this reflected, and it's good. Twitsy can't shield that one with their Aegis, and the sea has already been burned to give additional damage and sustainability to the remainder of Insomnia.
Oh, Beetle 2 is just farming forever on this Venom at the moment. Psionic Seduction comes on through from DRP. Relaxing Sky's going to try and keep the team alive through it. Off of the back of Fate of both worlds, and Vertigo just comes on through with the Jeff Eat. And off of the back of that, Crazy Kitty uses the Rage of Ultron to continue pressuring Insomnia, so they can't just sit inside this Eternal Bond. However, the heal per second from the Cloak and Dagger outmatches the Ultron, and Insomnia finds stability until the last time from Beetle comes on through. That's a jump scare and a half, going for a portal and fighting a Wolverine, as Forever will be finding himself off of the map.
Yeah, big feral leap, dropping him off the map after seeing Forever previously used the disengagement tool. Vertigo swaps over from the Jeff onto the Luna. I don't know if they actually got anyone in their itch Jeff. Didn't seem like anyone fell off the map.
I mean, they've been able to deal with Insomnia trying to utilize these Venom compositions. Tuzi goes over to the Phoenix. You want to have the Luna to use that Snowflake, pass it over to the Phoenix so she can play a little bit more aggressively on those off angles out of LOS.
All right, pass away, wrapping around the back. Eyes here onto Vertigo, but already a little bit of poke has been caught from the hands of the Ultron. Vertigo definitely needs a little bit of care here as Paso pops up their own freedom charge. Almost got sent all the way off the map as Twitsy doesn't want to infiltrate within the invisible boundary. It's too dangerous a proposition to move into that territory, and so it's just a fair trade of disengagement. Paso falls elsewhere. Beetle will be able to run away with their tail between their legs, and the remainder of Insomnia, they've been spread out too far. they don't have their testudo formation anymore, so they can be easily picked apart.
Paso is onto the Doctor Strange, at least. Got picked early enough to be able to set up a teleport. Unfortunately for them, Lion Pro got picked incredibly late, so they have to try and fall onto the point and build up to a Rage of Ultron, but the target focus is immediately there from Tuzi. Ultron so close that ultimate gets removed as a threat, and now it's just Chop picking up pick by pick onto the objective, as Insomnia have no choice but to throw themselves one by one in and hope that Nocta can come back with the Rage of Ultron and let them live through it.
Yeah, great shield usage there with the Aegis coming through from DRP, forcing Line Pro to commit through the portal in order to deliver the healing, meaning they could be easily picked up afterwards by the Rage of Ultron.
There's the Star-Lord that we expected to see coming through at some point to be able to put more pressure onto the Flyers and also dive with Venom, because Paso is creating opportunities. There's just not a lot of follow-up coming on through, and Chop just playing backline trades right now with Beetle and the Captain America.
Forever looking up towards multiple stunned enemies, going to parry the incoming Carbon Crush, utilizing their diamond form. Great reaction speed there, and maybe can keep DRP in if they're able to connect their own, but looks like they're not going to commit it. Oh, once again, an absolute mirroring of utility. Line Pro relaxing Sky might be able to survive this one though, because everyone's zoned away by the counter ult from the other Emma. Beetle still wondering how to try and make a true incision here. It's real aggressive coming through from Line Pro. Has to be a maneuver onto the point, and already Paso is taking so much aggro for having infiltrated thus far. Slow abilities there. Nox are going to come out with the Rage of Ultron, and it's going to be mirrored coming through the other side from Crazy Kitty. Everyone's feeling all of the healing that they need, as Mash has also brought up the invisible boundary, and this is an opening for Twitzy to try and make something happen. For Galactic Legend written potentially in blood, but for remainder of Chop, they're happy to just let democracy sustain them.
Yeah, Beetle gets to come through with the Freedom Charge. Vertigo got picked before, but is going to have a closer respawn. And with the speed that Luna can move, comes back into the fight almost immediately afterwards. Insomnia now going to be burned almost entirely out of their ultimate bank. Forever is going to be the next one to come through with a cycle. But Chopped with Tuzi, playing on this off angle, is going to be able to put so much pressure with the Ensong Inferno before they can get back onto the objective.
Yeah, surviving this is going to be truly difficult. Tuzi's already set up on the high ground. Oh, you can see the grab's already been used by Forever as well. Oh, the sustainability of the Emma is basically zero now, especially with both their healers falling on down. The strategists have just been nuked from orbit, courtesy of the cosmic force of a Phoenix itself, and that's surely going to be a completion. Forever's nowhere near. And Insomnia, yeah, I don't think we're going to be portaling out of this one, right, bro?
DRP is going to have Psionic Seduction as well, so that Chopped can continue this momentum. Moving on forward, Nocta does have the Rage of Ultron, which is CC immune, so Insomnia might not have to fully disengage it, but if you use your Rage of Ultron now, Crazy Kitty gets that second.
And when it comes to these strategist ults, we know the rules. Generally, second is better, lasting for longer. Being able to outpace those. In the back, Paso still trying to make these soft eyes work. Oh, this is an absolute treasure trove that has been discovered. The meaty underbelly, the crit spot. You know in your old classic RPG games, that's the big glowing red dot on the boss.
Oh, Crazy Kitty and Nocta didn't use their ultimates either. It was just the Emma mirror. But like you said, Chopped found the better targets. Paso, yes, kept the backline of Chopped looking at him. But that also meant that there was no Venom to peel for his backline. Oh, Nocta gets cancelled out of Rage of Ultron in the startup frames before he gets the CC immunity.
Oh, that's kind of tragic there for Nocta. Forever does have a good angle to try and play with. Can't quite connect with the Carbon Crush, but the follow-up is good. Crazy Kitty on the outside. Second working on out. Twitzy seen up in the sky. A direct impact. Tuzi says, leave my character be. What just happened to that Venom? What happened to that Venom?
I mean, that Venom's got to come back in and try and tap onto the objective. He's got to look for the slam and keep this point in play. They've at least got the Eternal Bond. Feast of the Abyss used at the same time as we hear all of the damage coming on through from that Ensong Inferno. But Mash comes on through with the invisible boundary to match Witch with the sustainability. Twitzy has to hold on to his ultimate and hope that he finds the pick off of the back of it. The fate of both wards from Vertigo means that they survive the entire duration and get a pick up of their own.
All right, all in on the defense now. The fate of both worlds is over, but the Rage of Ultron has only just begun. He's going to be getting madder and madder. Beetle in towards the back line. The assault has once again begun. A quick freeze to put this one on ice. Chill out, they tell Beetle. But Beetle's more than ready to chill because the remainder of his team has pushed the Flora Colossus to completion.
I mean, yeah, Beetle doesn't need eliminations there. He just needs to be enough of a bully to pressure out the backline, forcing to backstep into spawn. And unlike Midtown, where you can weave in and out of the spawn doors, get a full heal if the Captain America is running directly at you while still getting to heal your team presence on point, you don't get to do that on Araco third. And the second that the Invis, or rather the Cloak and Dagger and the Luna, try and make a misstep backwards, the Venom and everything else left contesting the objective is prone, vulnerable, and picked.
Just easy to tear apart. Attention is a resource as well as those which are more concrete, being bound to buttons or ticked as an ultimate. Where your strategists are looking, very much be a divisible resource.
Yeah, stats are only half of the story. Soft dive value and disruption dive, a little bit of a newer concept to the playstyle, has really started picking up a lot of steam, but unfortunately you don't get to see, in terms of numbers, all that it's doing, because they're not going to be doing a lot of damage. The crucial thing is the amount of times they revisit the spawn room, and Chopped have been doing a very good job of making sure that that number is limited.
Once again, 3-3 likely on the table. A cosmic fastball to open up, and then Line Pro will swap over onto something with a little bit more sustainability, I imagine. And you can see the jump pack ready for forever here as well. Oh, actually, he's already used it by accident. That's a bit of a heartbreaker for him. Basuo getting assaulted on their entry, pulled back in by the Invisible Woman. Invisible Woman's a fantastic counter to Venom when it comes to trying to stop those disengages.
Well, here's the storm that we foretold coming on through as a knock to pick one-sided damage boost off of the Goddess boost, and even worse for Chop to have to deal with if Line Pro is able to land a blind in the same time. Tuzi just goes down in so little time, but he will be brought back up by the BRB, and Vertigo has been building up the Cosmic Yawn Amplifier so incredibly quickly off of all of the orb bounces in the close spaces.
Vibranium Energy Sword to cut through the backline. Line Pro, the primary victim of that one, and Tuzi claims revenge against the Weather Goddess. Omega level versus one well-coded boy. Twitzy is going to be the next to fall on down, and Insomnia, they are having some trouble breaking out of this absolute gulag.
Yeah, Storm, unfortunately. Hitbox, not that easy to obscure the way that Human Torch does, so inside the 1v1 duels, tends to lose the fly of fight as DRP finds a big pick onto Line Pro, who was so close to Eternal Bond. That's going to be Insomnia having to back up yet again.
Oh, DRP's just playing such a reserved position here. We're actually seeing Crazy Kitty be more of a roaming vanguard. And that means that often Tuzi can just keep the drone on them, so DRP doesn't really require any healing resources. And
Pasuo gets no opportunity either to really find these openings for the rest of the team to be able to walk in, which means no green light for the Storm damage. Oh, that was a Mega Hurricane, and that was immediately shut down before the Storm could come on through with the animation activation. Massive meteor from DRP2 counts as Eternal Bond, and this is just textbook spawn hold right now.
Oh, look away, children. It's brutal to behold. 4 ultimates available for Insomnia, but they're going to be almost matched here by Chopped.
I mean, they're going to have Psionic Seduction from forever to try and open up these spaces. Knocked her off of the Storm is onto the Star-Lord to try and keep up with the Ultron in those fights. There's the Sonic Seduction. Pasuo has been able to push as well. Tuzi all the way back with pressure from the Venom, contesting that backline. And finally, Insomnia have space, but the question is how long are they going to be able to hold on to it as Chop now make that move.
All right, Rage of Ultron assaulted by the Feast of the Abyss, but all's well that ends well, and no one's really going to fall on down. Liberty drives forward, Chop to keep this point contested once more. Beetle in towards the backline. Line Pro noted up high, but a quick target swap over onto the Lunar Snow. Crazy Kitty finds himself alone in the path of the Flora Colossus, but it might well be a finish. DRP is nasty with it, bro. How is he allowed to get away with this on the off angle now with a Sonic projection? It's going to be far away from their strategist, so it might find themselves isolated. A backup may maybe through the teleporter. No, Line Pro manages to make that one work. A wall climb away from a speared sentience, but Line Pro's just too scary to stand up to at the moment. Crazy Kitty still moves on forward, using that Sonic Seduction to get the Relaxing Sky in an ideal position for Beetle to just grab them with their horns and bring them inside the exoskeleton for digestion.
Oh, DRP got picked, but got brought back by the PRB. And in the meantime, for the entire duration of the fight, he's able to build up Meteor M to match wits now with Noctis Galactic Legend, which Insomnia are going to be looking to open up this next fight for them.
Oh, how do you deal with the amount of resources Chopped have when all you have is the Galactic Legend, and Noctis already under so much pressure? The AoEs off the back of the Iron Volley just keeping Noctis hidden away behind this, and it's still this point is moving backwards. To the sky goes the Meteor M. What's the plan right here? Already eating up a little bit of Element Gun coming out to begin with. DRP taken down by Passo. It's a great opening, and now Relaxing Sky can drive everyone forward. You can see the damage boost aura coming on out. This should, oh, that means Twitzy can't get through to try and take out a Seer early. So damage done here. Tuesday's been able to build up towards yet another Rage of Ultron. Freedom rings once again. Echo around Duraco as it's going to be up close and personal. Tuesday's feeling really ballsy, and Beetle is managing to make sure that it's well reinforced. Rolling forth, Crazy Kitty up against the world can bring up the charge D just to make sure that no mind control can be given. Just dodge the wisdom saving throw. Why do you need to grab it? Line Pro just continually pushes them through the Eternal Bond. He's just built different, and so too are Chopped. Insomnia, I'm afraid it's time to get some sleep tonight as they're laid to rest by Chopped.
6 players all turn and look in that Cloak and Dagger's direction, and it is danger. Immediately felt through the Eternal Bond's 265 heals per second. They're able to do it in just the neutral, and that's why things like this Ultron is so difficult to displace when you're an attacking side. If you try and rely on things like that Storm to have the one-sided damage boost and walk forward, you're a flyer. Ultron is really, really good at beaming flyers down as they come through from the little space that they control.
Dude, Beetle dropping 16 final hits, 20k damage. I mean, played Wolverine for a while, but that's such impressive uptime on the cap, honestly.
I think Tuesday did 29,000.
Yeah. But Tuesday was playing like Phoenix and Phoenix, who doesn't count. Fake damage, fake news.
Yeah, these Phoenix hits, look at this. The melee animation cancels and then coming on through with the ultimate catch too. There were a lot of times too when he used Ensong Infinite when he was above a doorframe, so Insomnia didn't even get the opportunity to be able to start melting his 400 HP summon before it was hurtling directly at them. This was the true blow though, on third, when it was the traders of the Psionic Seductions. Granted, with the distance that Chopped allowed Insomnia to push, it didn't really matter all that much in the end. But that Psionic Seduction where they caught both of the backline without a strategist ultimate allowed them to full push.
All that focus on the Line Pro there is nasty. I'm not gonna lie. Chopped walk away with the win, and they are looking like quite the Titanic powerhouse. I can't help but feel that internally there are going to be a couple of soul-seeking questions, though, about that Hall of Jalia, which seemed like it just forgot to load into the lobby.
It was a little bit rough. It kind of feels though that like Insomnia, they purposely let a couple of picks go through so that they could try and control the composition that they would be seeing, because as we talk about, right, flyers on defense, entirely different matter to flyers on attack. Because those flyers, they don't immediately have access to all of the space, they don't get the natural terrain and cover to be able to hide themselves away from all of that incoming pressure on the walk-up itself. So being able to defend against flyers when you already hold Hall of Djalia, one of the maps that even in stage 1 we saw a lot of full hold compositions come through even before a triple strategist meta started to be established.
Yeah, like the triple strategist, it's a bit of a newer thing. Like we've seen it a little bit with the Jeff, but honestly, like these full holds at the beginning of Araco have been they've been a lot to deal with, and we've seen some iterations come through against the 3-3s, like the Storm that came out. Noctis didn't manage to get as much value out of it, unfortunately, for Insomnia here. We have seen Noctis get value out of it before. I would have liked to have seen an earlier move over potentially onto that Groot so they could try and maybe isolate DRP, which worked quite well on their Hall of Jalia.
The problem with the Storm is that you're sort of basing it around having goddess boost and being able to walk on one specific person, but then the rocket BRB brings that person back and you're without your cooldown.
Yeah. It's a little bit rough. We got the coach of Chopped coming on in to have a bit of a chat to us and maybe give us a lowdown on how that series went. Thank you so much for joining us, Dennis. Congratulations on the win.
Hello? Can you hear
Hello,
me?
congratulations. Yes, we can indeed hear you. Hopefully you can hear us too.
Yeah, I can.
Perfect. So starting things off, I don't think a lot of people really expected this to be a free mapper series. Can you give us a little bit of context into why Holo de Jalia went the way it did?
Well, people didn't expect it because I think people a little bit underestimate Insomnia. I mean, I never underestimated them, even because we had a matchup in MRC. My players were very confident, you know, and I told them don't be overconfident, you know, because it's still an MRI team, you know, it's still upper bracket. They have a lot to lose. If we're coming as, I mean, they're coming as underdogs, they're gonna have an advantage. That's how it usually goes. So I didn't expect it to be an easy series. So they played very well. I can't say that something was wrong in terms of draft or I don't know, like how my players played. I think they just played it to perfection, you know. Like I'm pretty sure. Wait, was it Passivo on Venom, right?
Yeah.
I think that guy did like book perfect drafts. I never, dives. I never seen a guy diving so perfectly on Venom. It was impossible to pull him, you know. So I think they just played it better. I can't say anything else. Props to them.
As a newer top-tier team in EMEA, what would you say is Chopped's like best attribute? What are you guys best at that no one else can really beat you on?
I mean, that definitely flexibility, our best attribute. We can play everything. I don't think there is any line of ban that's gonna put us like, oh, we can't play this now. I'm pretty sure my supports can play everything, and we even saw Vertigo on Strange today. Crazy Kitty is probably one of the most versatile flexes in this game on high level. I mean, my tanks can play the whole amount of tanks in the game. I think flexibility would be our best attribute. We can play everything. It's very hard to prep for us, you know.
So now that we saw that matchup between Virtus.pro and Na'Vi, and we got to see Na'Vi take a 2-0 win, when we talked to Level 1 Crook, he actually said that you were one of those teams, that it's not really a three-way race in EMEA, it's now become a four-way. In your opinion, where do you think Chopped ranks in comparison to Na'Vi, Virtus.pro, and Citadel?
It's a hard question to answer because we respect all of these teams equally, and I think last interview you asked me about Citadel, and I also said that like we respect them as a team. We were preparing hard for them, and it just happened that we were better that day, so we won. But I wouldn't say that it's appropriate to rank us anywhere. I think it's anyone's game, because official is official, and you never know how it goes. It all comes to prep, to like how it feels during the day and how it goes during the match. So I wouldn't say that there is any ranking. I think we all have very solid chance to get the spot.
Well, you only have one more group stage match to prep for, so we'll let you get on with that. Thank you so much for joining us, Denise. It was great to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that was the coach